The War Within Prepatch is here, and we are today playing Frost Death Knight. Oh my god, the amount of changes Frost Death Knight has had is insane. I used to really like the Breath of Cindergosa build, and now I'm fully a Obliteration convert. I feel like it's just getting ridiculous now with how many different things we need to do with Breath of Cindergosa, and it's getting too complex when breath is up, when it's not, blah, blah, blah. So this is going to be the Obliteration build. Let's just start talking about like what's actually changed first. I'm going to preface that by saying, hi, if you're new here, my name's Javier. I usually do very in-depth, beginner-focused guides for all classes and specs in World of Warcraft. However, this is going to be a lot more shallow for the reasons being we're in pre-patch. It's only going to be live for a few weeks. And the goal of this video is for the poor people out there probably watching this who are like, what the hell has happened to my spec and my talent tree? What the hell am I doing in the remainder of Dragonflight for the last few weeks? So we're not going to go over like stat priorities and stuff because your gear is probably pretty much set in stone at this point. We only have a few weeks left of Dragonflight, but I do want to talk around the changes and how the hell you are actually going to use your rotation for these final few weeks. We obviously don't have our hero talents. They come at level 71 and above. So we are kind of stuck at level 70 with everything kind of just been chucked all over the place. So let's just start talking about some of the changes. I'm not going to be talking around, not Discord. I'm not going to be talking about all of the changes because there's so many. And you might just be like, okay, cool, but why am I using this? What am I doing? So the resource generation has been really pruned on Frost Death Knight for pre-patch, which is interesting. Abomination Limb no longer gives us any rhyme procs, which is like a super big juicy daddy procs on our Howling Blast here. Our Empower rune weapon is no longer on the class tree, which is interesting. Rune of Hysteria is gone. Rune of Attuation is gone, nerfed even. And a lot of our talent tree has been just like shuffled around all over the place and had a lot of changes. Like Rhyme is now just a baseline spec ability on your Obliteration. Chill Streak is a lot better in single target now. Frost Scythe no longer consumes your buffs. Honestly, I could just go on all day about this. Let's just jump in and see what we're doing and why, because the rest of it's probably going to go over everyone's head anyway. But, you know, join the Discord if you do want to talk about it. We've got some really fun Frost Death Knight people that do play there. So first things first, on a 45-second cooldown is your Pillar of Frost. The Power of Frost increases your strength by 30% for 12 seconds. I would use this on cooldown. The main priority we're going to be using is basically what you see here. You can see that a few different talents and abilities are actually on this ability bar more than once. What I like to do when I'm teaching people this is really visualize what we're doing and when. So if you see Frost Strike on here 3 times, it's because we're using it at 3 different times in the rotation, and it helps you kind of visualize like when and why we're using it. First things first, if your Icy Talons and Unleashed Fury are going to fall off, re-put them on with your Frost Strike. Unleashed Fury is here, Frenzy even. Damaging an enemy with a runic power ability increases your strength by 2% for 10 seconds, and that can stack up to 3 times. And then Icy Talons basically increases your attack speed, again, when you use a runic power spender like your Frost Strike. So if we use Frost Strike here, you can see Icy Talons and Unleashed Frenzy are up. So when these are falling off, that's when we want to keep them up at all times with our Frost Strike whenever possible. And that's your number 1 priority. After that, we're going to use our Empower rune weapon, empowering a rune weapon, gaining 15% haste and generating 1 rune and 5 runic power instantly in every 5 seconds, 20 seconds, just helping with some regeneration there on resources. If you have a Killing Machine proc, that's when we're then going to use our Obliterate, which is, funnily enough, right now, you will see it as procced here. What does Killing Machine do? It is a guaranteed critical strike on your Obliterate, and it can stack as you see there. That is from here, so you learn Obliterate in the talent tree here, and then going down, you've got Killing Machine. Your auto-attack critical strikes have a chance to make your next Obliterate deal frost damage and also critically strike. So whenever you see that, that is one of your top priorities. As long as you have Icy Talons and Unleashed Frenzy up still, then we're going to be using our Obliterate whenever we get a proc from that. If we've then got 3 runes, like we have here, and the target is under 35% health, we're then going to use our Soul Reaper. This is basically an execute ability. Strike an enemy for X amount of Shadow Frost damage and afflict them with Soul Reaper after 5 seconds. So technically, you want to use this if the target will be under 35% health within the next 5 seconds. So if they're at 35% health or below, basically. It'll then explode, dealing additional damage to the target. If they then die, blah, 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 you get gain runic corruption. We're not really going to care because often this will be like in raid situations we're using it. So if it's in the execute phase, under 35% health, use this. Then we want to put Frost Fever on our target and keep it up. That's going to be with our Howling Blast. Blast the target with Frigid Wind, dealing frost damage to that foe and reduce damage to all other enemies within 10 yards. It also afflicts Frost Fever on our target, suffering frost damage every 3 seconds, and every time that does damage, it has a chance to give you some runic power back. If we've got less than 2 runes at this point, it's going to be, okay, use our Frost Strike. So we're using it here to keep up these 2 buffs, and then here we're using it if we've just got less than 2 runes available. After that, if Rime is active, then we are going to use our Howling Blast here. So we're using it here to keep up Frost Fever. We're using it here if Rime is active. What is Rime, you may ask? It's now a baseline. It used to be a talent. It's now a baseline in the pre-patch. Your Obliterate has a 45% chance to cause your next Howling Blast to consume no runes at all and deal big 300% extra damage. After that, if you've got nothing else to really press, again, it's going to be Frost Strike. And then again, if you've then run out of runic power and you've got nothing to press, then it's going to be your Obliterate. Let's run through it again. Keep up Pillar of Frost whenever you can. Use your Frost Strike to keep up your Icy Talons and your Unleashed Fury. Keep up your Empower Rune Weapon. Use Obliterate whenever you get a proc on it. Use Soul Reaper if the enemy is about to be under 35% health or already is. Use your Howling Blast to keep up Frost Fever. Then use Frost Strike if you've got under 2 runes. Use Howling Blast if Rime procs. Again, it will just look like this. It's a proc, but rather than Obliterate, it's on your Howling Blast. Like here, this is a Rime here, so boom, we're going to use it. And then basically just using Frost Strike if you've got nothing left else to do, and then using your Obliterate. So just going through that one more time, keep up your Pillar of Frost, use your Frost Strike, use this, use your Obliterate whenever you get a proc, Soul Reaper in the execute phase, Howling Blast to keep up Frost Fever, Frost Strike if you've got less than 2 runes, Howling Blast if Rime is proccing, and then after that, but pretty much our Obliterate and Frost Strike are going to be our filler abilities. You can also use your Abomination Limb cooldown that you're getting from the class tree as well. I would use this in tandem with your Pillar of Frost for maximum damage. Sprout an additional limb, dealing damage to everyone nearby, dealing reduced damage beyond 5 targets. Every 1 second, an enemy is pulled to your location if they're further than 8 yards away from you. The same enemy can only be pulled in once every 4 seconds. Apart from that, not much really in the rotation is changing. Considering some of these are going to cleave, like your Howling Blast and your Abomination Ling, it's fine to use it in Mythic Plus for the next 3 weeks if you want. You can change the spec up a little bit. At this point, I just couldn't really care less. I normally go so in depth of do this Mythic Plus, do this for single target, but in a build like this where things are actually cleaving, etc., and so much is changing, and it's only a few weeks left. If you are needing a guide where you're not sure what you're doing, I really wouldn't bother learning 2 separate rotations because it's going to change in a few weeks anyway. But I do like the changes to Frost Death Knight. I do think they're good. The rotation is a bit shorter than it used to be, but I think it's in a pretty good place. Let me know your comments down below. Hopefully this was helpful to you if you're not sure what's going on with the changes and how your rotation is changing. This is obviously the Obliteration build rather than Breath of Sindragosa. The Breath of Sindragosa build is complex for my liking at the moment. And I will have a full Frost guide out for Mythic Plus and Raiding and PvP as soon as the War Within launches. If you need any one-on-one help from me, please do join Patreon. It also really helps support the channel. Obviously, running a channel where we do this has a team behind it, and it does cost a hell of a lot of money. So, any support is really, really appreciated. You also get my LVI profile here, and you can also join Discord where you can get access to experts. And there's a VIP channel in there where we can help you with anything you need. Oh, and if you are looking for other class guides for Prepatch, check this playlist here. I am doing quite a lot of them.